Hey, it is a really great monsoon storm today, so I thought I'd show you the Basin Gardens. Uh, this one has a lot of mulch, like probably 8 inches of mulch at least, and so you can't really see the water pooling into there. Hello there, how are you, Amarok? He's been chilling under the trailer. But anyways, this one has no mulch, and look at how much water it's captured. That is a lot. So happy with this. And then, let me step over. So the Tomatillo Basin, look at that. It only has a scant bit of mulch, so you can still see the captured water in the plant divots. And then over here, lots of peppers are growing. And unfortunately the elderberry didn't make it, but its basin is nice and full of water. The turkeys actually enjoy being out in the rain. They could go under the trees and take shelter, but they walk around and get all wet. And even though my son improved the swale, I still haven't planted it yet, but I am happy to see that as the water does come off of this compacted bare dirt, the rivulets are hitting the swale perpendicular. So that means I succeeded in getting it on contour. But it's got lots of horse manure and chicken litter and rabbit litter, and I'm going to be knocking down this leading edge for the topsoil, and that's going to be the next planting spot. The rest of the swale is over here, and as you can see, it's nice and full, even though I haven't developed it to plant yet. This is just a berm without a swale, but it looks to have stopped a lot of sheeting water, and hopefully that will activate all of this animal litter that we've piled up in here. Amarok is getting so tall. His legs are long. Hi, turkeys. So the next driveway basin has already marked itself. You can tell that a lot of water has come down off of this hard, compact, bare dirt, and it wants to go into where the next basin is going to get dug out. And now that the ground is all soaked, it is like brownie batter when you dig instead of concrete. So that's going to be a fun time digging that out. Let's check out the rabbit garden. What's going on here? This willow basin that has lots of pasture and wildflowers growing around it. I've added another basin garden to go here, and that is catching lots of water. Sunflowers are doing great on this row. I made this bunny rabbit playhouse out of juniper branches. They've been going in there and having a good time digging, as you can see. There are claw marks in the hole there. They're tucked in warm and dry for today though. And so this has a raised path going around it. Matt added a check dam to this basin. Otherwise it would run downhill along the sunflowers. These sunflowers I thinned, and it's great for a treat. The thinnings are a great treat for the bunnies. All the animals like them, actually. Here's another little basin that captured a lot of water, and on this side of the rabbit playhouse, more water captured alongside the raised path. There's going to be a whole system of raised paths and basins. And anyways, let's walk along the outside so you can see the things that I planted most recently. I showed you that I had planted all of these, and I just went down and dirty and dug a ditch and threw a bunch of seeds in there, from seeds from the old place that I had propagated. So these are all mammoth sunflowers from the old place. And then here is from Native Seed Search. I can't remember the name of this squash, but that is a native squash. And then we've got asparagus or yard-long beans, and then regular bush beans growing here. A random kale, asparagus bean, native squash on down the line. And then over here, Matt put daikon radishes on the berm, and I just scattered lots and lots of random squash and bean seeds that I'd propagated. So I'm not sure. We'll find out by their fruits. We'll know what type of squash these are. And there's bush beans and climbing beans along here too. Not sure which are which yet. So all of those are, there's an anthill under this mulch, and that's why there's no plants on that little section. Anyways, more randos. This one looks like it could possibly maybe be a watermelon, because it's got more of the ivy leaf shape. Not sure though, we'll find out. Some good thick germination happening. Now I dug another series of ditches along this fence line, and look how much water got captured. I'm sure that much water is in these too, but it's hidden by the mulch. And see, we've got puddles. But this has watermelon and yellow wax bean, bush beans, and completely submerged watermelon in there. Down here, we've got sugar pie pumpkins and more wax bean bush beans, all submerged in the sunken ditch garden. And I can't remember what I put in this one besides the beans. I think it's a type of cucumber. Oh, look at this one. See, Matt put in these check dams in the ditch, because otherwise all this water would just roll on out to the bottom, because it's on a mild slope here. Listen to that thunder. I don't know if you can hear it over the generator, but that is a lot of water in there. That's a lot of water. So there's cucumbers, market more cucumbers, and more wax bush beans along here. And you can't even see the cucumbers because they're submerged. There's some next to that bush bean. Bush beans. And there's another ant pit here, so they come and they take and behead the seedlings sometimes. And I just overseeded because I wanted to make sure something grows out here. It's really hit or miss. So I've found that instead of being precious, like with these guys, these were very precious from seed starting indoors during the wintertime when it's still freezing cold, and they just don't thrive as well as the direct sown. But we have been harvesting kale. These brassicas, who knows what will happen, because when it's 95 and the UV is 11, there ain't much going on with those. They kind of droop, and it kind of killed the centers a little bit. But I've got some direct sown kales in there. And I like kale because it seems to be an all-weather plant. It might even perennialize here. So this basin, you can't tell it's a basin because I double dug and refilled it, and it's got a good wad of mulch. Otherwise, it would be cooled, just like the new one that I'm starting here. So this is going to be a raised path along this other basin, and it looks pretty good for the water sheeting off of the RV pad and coming down straight into the new basin that I'm going to dig out here. And it's once again softened up for me, so it'll be easy to double dig. And I have high hopes for this guy. I only got 2 artichokes from seed. That one and that one. So I'm hoping that this rainy monsoon season will make those grow up big and strong. Here are some direct sown amaranths from Native Seeds. Here is from Botanical Interests, burgundy colored amaranth. And I got way better germination from those. I once again, as you can see, I overseeded, and so I'm going to be able to thin those. I'm a little overdue maybe, but I'm going to thin those, and that'll be animal treats. We could eat those too. Don't really like amaranth leaves that much myself, but maybe I'll try them again. Over here I've got the rock mulch on this berm, and it created kind of a wind protector, and this was just a trench planting. And these are the fertility pits, the 2 circles. This fertility pit has sweet potatoes from the old place in the center. I just planted the whole sweet potatoes, 4 of them in there. They were starting to sprout, so I stuck them in the ground, and now we have greens for days. And I'm probably going to put a teepee in the center and grow those greens straight up. And what I can do is cut the vines and propagate the sweet potato all over the place. And we thought that this grapevine had died, but it came back up out of the ground. So that is I think it's a Reliant table grape. Listen to that thunder booming. Let's see. Rosemary, golden beets. The blister beetles came and they ate the crap out of these beets. And they destroyed some of them. But there are a few left. Calendula's still keeping on. I harvested all of the red beets from this little patch, and we had a rabbit soup with our own rabbits and our own beets and our own kale in the soup, and that was delicious. These sugar snap peas that I propagated from the old place, I've let them go to seed here because, I mean, there were only like 8 plants or something. You can't really get a meal off of that, but you can get some seeds. Heat damaged brassicas here, some micro mini cabbages setting up in there. Look at that, it's the size of a Brussels sprout. A little ridiculous. The kale is keeping on, and I'm sorry, not kale, the Swiss chard. And I've had good results with Swiss chard being heat resistant in California, so they, as long as you water them, they puff back up. And I've got a couple direct sown survivors. And look at this. There's like a golf ball sized Romanesco broccoli in that poor battered plant. Aphids came and demolished this Romanesco. However, I did not spray, and within a week my garden was crawling with ladybugs. So I'm glad I didn't spray. Over here, back in the central fertility pit, the hardy apple tree rootstock plant is thriving. So maybe we'll be able to propagate that, and then eventually we'll be able to graft the hardy rootstock with edible fruits. And I'm letting this sow thistle grow because that's a rabbit treat. And then these are cauliflowers. So we'll see. Once again, the 95-degree temperatures. Because brassicas don't really like that. But it was like freezing cold, and then it was really hot. And the brassicas are just trying to cope. We'll see what happens. I'm still getting the hang for this high altitude 6B zone. We've got a red raspberry, keeping it up. The lemongrass looks ace. And then we bought these comfrey starts from a lady in town, and they're doing well, looking like they're taking root well and putting up some new growth. So that is both for compost tea, comfrey tea, which is a great fertilizer, but it's also a rabbit treat, and you can feed it to all the livestock. I focus on rabbits all the time because this is the rabbit garden, but that's a good treat for sheep as well. And once it's growing well, I can divide the rootstock and propagate that all around. On this side, the fertility pit, the pear tree died. Pretty sure it's dead. Not going to do anything to it because, like the grape, I didn't dig it up or anything. I just left it in the ground when it seemed like it died. And lo and behold, it came back. So maybe the pear tree will too. The mint really likes being in the center. And it's blooming now, which means it will bring pollinators. Like this weird looking one. Not sure what type that is. But we've got a lot of those. They come in the RV and get stuck in our vent screen. The rabbits have really nibbled down on that guy. And there was basil here, but the rabbits ate that. And then over here is Thai basil. Both of those are doing all right. The rabbits have nibbled them. I've had to deflower them. That sounded funny, but I deadheaded them or whatever, pruned the flowers off so that they'll get bigger. They're too tiny. The garden sage looks great. Another lemongrass, and this is a volunteer wildflower of some kind, not sure. It looks a little cannabinoid, but I don't know what it is. I don't really know the flora and fauna too well out here yet. Still learning. So that is how the sunken gardens are working. And I've just been stockpiling animal litter right and left in order to mulch up the basins once the plants get bigger. Like this has been mulched multiple times, and the microorganisms are working on it. Can't really see too much. I've also been trying to do the Steve Solomon technique of mulching with dust, but it's incorporated into the soil, so I feel that we're actually growing some soil here. Anyways, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks for watching. Cheers and blessings.